Well, I walk into this building, especially when I go up the stairs the next door into the original building, and I always feel that it's time to get serious. And some of those feelings are physical for me, and they're hard to explain. But I have a briefing document that my staff put together in response to the question of how is Anne Arundel County involved in the Underground Railroad, and there's some good information in there. There were two versions of the briefing document. The first one mentioned two enslaved people who escaped from a place called Doden Farm. That's where I live. My name is Steuart Pittman. My father's name was Steuart Pittman, and his grandmother's last name was Steuart. And the Steuart family owned land in this county, and they enslaved people in this county. So when we study history of enslaved people, the history of resistance to slavery, the history of the Underground Railroad, to really study it, I think every one of us puts themselves into the time and asks the question of how they fit in to that. So if you are a descendant of enslaved people, the feelings, I'm sure, are physical. And if you know that you are a descendant of people who enslaved other people, it's hard not to have physical feelings as well. And my hope is that by having 200 events in the state of Maryland in which the history of the Underground Railroad and a celebration of Harriet Tubman's life, 200 events to celebrate the 200 years. And then the statue out here encourages other people to look into their own history and dig deep. And there are people who tell us that we should not do that, or that we should not teach that to our kids in school because it might make them feel guilty. I can tell you that the further I dig, or my wife, who has been spending a lot of time at the archives looking into the history of the Steuart family, that it does create an uncomfortable feeling, but it also creates a feeling of purpose, and even to some degree a feeling of peace if one responds and works towards justice. And if we don't study and feel the difference between injustice and justice, we're not going to be very good at achieving justice. So I did not even bring up the briefing document, but I text messaged my wife and I said, could you send me that ad that you found at the archives ASAP? And she did. And I had already seen it. My kids had seen it. My family's seen it. And I guess I'll share it. It says $100 reward. Ran away from the subscriber's farm, Doden, in Anne Arundel County, a Negro boy called Dick Sparrow. Dark skin and not very tall, though well set. Sorry. He's about 18 or 19 years old. I will give $50 if taken in Anne Arundel County or in the city or county of Baltimore, and $100 if taken elsewhere. R.S. Steuart, September 26th. I hope you found Harriet Tubman, and I hope you will find it. But I do have a proclamation. And I have to read the proclamation because it's important. Proclamation says that on behalf of the residents of Anne Arundel County, Maryland, whereas the Underground Railroad was a network of people of goodwill, including African Americans as well as white, who risked their lives and livelihoods to offer shelter and aid to escaped enslaved people from Maryland and other slaveholding states. And whereas one of the most famous conductors of the Underground Railroad was a native of Maryland, Harriet Tubman, who during a 10-year span made 19 trips into the South and escorted over 300 slaves to freedom. And as she once remarked to Frederick Douglass, that in all of her journey, she never lost a single passenger. And whereas Governor Hogan has officially proclaimed 2022 as the year of Harriet Tubman in Maryland, as the state celebrates the 200th anniversary of the birth of the nation's most renowned freedom fighter. Now, therefore, I, Steuart Pittman, County Executive, do hereby proclaim, is that name again, Steuart? And call upon all of our residents to recognize and commend its observance and to find their own ways to give back to their communities given under my hand. And the Great Seal of Anne Arundel County this first day of September of the year of our Lord 2022.